Hello, Concord Junior High. This is your math teacher, Mr. Rock, making another video for you. In this video, you will learn how to solve multi-step equations. There are lots of examples, and I encourage you to take notes as you watch so that you can use them when you do your assignment. Here we go. Okay, here is our first example. The directions say to distribute and combine like terms and then solve the equation. So the first thing we need to do is distribute. And the place that we distribute is right here. We need to multiply x plus 1 times 3. When we do that, we get 3x plus 3. Now I'm going to write down the rest of the equation. I still have 33 on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I still have 2x plus 7x plus 3x. Now it says to combine like terms. All of these terms here, the 2x, the 7x, the 3x, and the 3x, there should be a plus sign in there, they are all on the same side of the equation. These are all on the same side of the equation. If they are all on the same side of the equation, that's where you combine. If they are on the same side, that means you combine. So we are going to add 2x plus 7x. That's 9x. Plus 3x. That's 12x. Plus 3x. That's 15x. So all of this right here combines together to get 15x. Bring down the plus 3 equals 33. Now we solve, okay? So far we have distributed. This is where we distributed, and we get 3x plus 3, and that part is right here. That's where we distributed. Then we combined like terms. The like terms are right here. They are all on the same side of the equation. So I add them together. 2x plus 7x plus 3x is 15x. And now I'm ready for the last part, which says to solve. And this is where I get to use opposites. So the opposite of adding 3 is to take away 3. Simplify, I get 15x. This much right here is 0. 33 minus 3 is 30. Divide by 15. And I get x is equal to 2. So the solution is 2. So what does that mean when the solution is 2? Well, what that means is if I go back to the top and I replace each x with the number 2, then the left-hand side will equal the same number as the right-hand side. Let's see if it's true. So this is going to be 2 times 2 plus 7 times 2 plus 3 times 2 plus 3 times 2 plus 1. And does that equal 33? Well, let's find out. Let's see. 2 times 2 is 4. 7 times 2 is 14. 3 times 2 is 6. Here, 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Let's see. 4 plus 4 is 18. 6 plus 9 is 15. 18 plus 15. 18 plus 15, does that equal 33? It sure does. So look, when I say that x equals 2 is the solution, what that means is that is the only number that you can put into this equation so that the left-hand side equals the same number as the right-hand side. 2 is the only number that works. Here's our next example. The directions are exactly the same. The directions say to distribute, then combine like terms, then solve the equation. So the first step is to distribute. When I distribute, I'm looking for parentheses. What this means is I have in parentheses a minus 4. And what's happening is this whole quantity is being multiplied by the number 5. So each part inside the parentheses gets multiplied by 5. So we have 5 times a, which is just 5a. And we have 5 times 4, which is 20. Sometimes I like to draw arrows that look like this. That helps me distribute. And then minus 2a plus 5 equals 18a. Now the next step, it says to combine like terms. Right here, it says combine like terms. So what you may want to do next is you may want to draw a line that goes down from the equal sign. It divides the equation into 2 parts. And the reason we do that is so we can see which terms are on the same side, because terms that are on the same side get combined. So what I mean is I have 5a and I have minus 2a. They are on the same side of the equation. So if they are on the same side of the equation, that is when you combine like terms. So 5a minus 2a is 3a. Also on the same side of the equation, we have subtracting 20 and we have adding 5. Okay, again, if they are on the same side, that's where you combine them. So minus 20 and adding 5 is minus 15. And that equals 18a. See, we have combined all the like terms now. We've combined them all. And now we're ready for the last step, which is to solve. So this is where I use opposites. And this problem's a little different because we have variables on each side of the equation. Look, I have an a on the left side and I have an a on the right side. So I'm going to solve so that I get all my a's on one side. And the way that I do that is just by subtracting 3 a's. So I get 3a minus 3a right here, which is 0. And I get negative 15 right there. 18a minus 3a is 15a. Divide both sides by 15, because the opposite of multiplying by 15 is to divide by 15. And I get a equals negative 1. So this is your solution. Ooh, I like this problem. It says, given the perimeter. What is the perimeter? The perimeter is the total distance around. So the total distance around is the perimeter. So it says, given the perimeter of an equilateral triangle. What does that mean? Equilateral means that every side is the same length. So every side is the same length. And they tell us that the perimeter of the equilateral triangle is 63. So the distance going all the way around this triangle is 63 units. And each side is the same length. It says solve for x. Okay, well, they tell us that one side is equal to 2x plus 1. So if they are all the same length, then that means this side is also 2x plus 1. And this side is also 2x plus 1. Then they tell us that the perimeter, the distance around, is equal to 63. So if I add this, and this, and this, the answer will be 63. Oops, and I saw I made a mistake. Do you see the mistake I made? That should be minus right there. Aha. So I'm going to change those to minus. Okay, so let's see. 2x plus 1. Nope, I did it again. 2x minus 1. Plus 2x minus 1. Plus 2x minus 1 equals 63. All right, I get to combine like terms. Here's a 2x, here's a 2x, here's a 2x. That much is equal to 6x. Here I have a minus 1, a minus 1, and a minus 1. That much is equal to minus 3 equals 63. Add 3 to both sides, because that's the opposite of subtracting 3. And I get 6x. This much right here is 0. Equals 66. Divide both sides by 6. And I get x equals 11. So the value for x is 11. But something that's important to understand is that the side here is not 11. X is equal to 11. So if I wanted to take this one step further, and I wanted to figure out how long each side is, I could go 2 times 11 minus 1, which is 21. So each side of the triangle is equal to 21 units in length. Ooh, I like this problem. Fun. Oh no! Decimals! No worries. We can work this problem out with decimals. It's not a big deal. First of all, let's draw a line that goes down from the equal sign. This will help me see which terms need to be combined. And let's see. I have 2 terms that need to be combined. 5.87x and 3.11x. Those 2 terms need to be combined. They're on the same side of the equation, and they each have an x. So when I combine those 2 terms, I'm going to get, let's see, 1 plus 7 is 8. 1 plus 9 is 9. 3 plus 5 is 8. Oh, I hope that's right. I did that in my head. You'll let me know if it's wrong. All right, so then I have all my terms combined, right? I have nothing else that I can combine. I cannot combine these two terms because this one has an x, this one does not. So these are unlike terms, and I can't combine them. All right, so to keep solving, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Make sure you line up your decimal points over here. So I get 8.98x equals 12.12. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 8.98. And I'm going to get x equals 12.12 over 8.98. Now I know that can be simplified. It certainly can. One thing that I can do is I can move the decimal point over 2 places to the right in the numerator and the denominator. So I know at least x equals 1212 over 898. But I know that that can also be simplified. So x equals, well, and if you reduce this fraction, you get 606 over 449. Ooh, that's kind of an ugly answer. I hope I did everything correctly. Here's another example. Let's focus on, well, let's draw a line first so I can combine like terms if I need to. On the left-hand side, look at this. I have parentheses. I have 3x plus 3 right there. But notice there's no number on the outside that I need to distribute. So these parentheses that you see right here, they're really unnecessary. So I can take them away, 3x plus 3, and I still have minus 5 there at the end. I can combine these two numbers, they are like terms, and I get 3x minus 2. On the right-hand side, though, I do have parentheses here, and there is a number on the outside, so I do need the parentheses, and I do need to distribute. So 2 times negative 2x is negative 4x, and 2 times 1 is 2. Now I have all like terms combined. I cannot combine anything here on the left-hand side, and I cannot combine anything here on the right-hand side. So what I'm ready to do next is solve. And probably a lot of you are going to add 2 to both sides as your next step, and I think that's a good choice. Okay, we get 3x here, negative minus 2 adding 2 is 0, and I get negative 4x plus 4. And a lot of you may be tempted at this point to subtract 3x, but don't do that. If you do that, you're going to end up with a 0 over here. I don't want a 0 on one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite of negative 4x, and I'm going to add 4x. See, it stops me from getting a 0, which is okay if you do. It's not incorrect. It just makes things a little more awkward. So this much is 0, and that much, bring down the 4. Divide both sides by 7, and x is equal to 4/7. Ah, look at this equation. Here's an equation with one side equal to 0. Isn't that weird? I think that's weird. All right, there are no like terms to combine over here, so let's get solving. The first step is we're going to add. We're going to add 4 to both sides. So I get x plus 3 divided by 2 equals 4. Now, notice how this is in parentheses. That's a good thing, because this whole quantity right here is being divided by 2. So let me ask you, what's the opposite of dividing by 2? That's right, multiplying by 2. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 2. And good things are going to happen. 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. And I have x plus 3, which is left. 4 times 2 is 8. The opposite of adding 3 is to take away 3. So I get x, this much is 0, is equal to 5. So the solution is 5. Remember what that means. That means if I put the number 5 into the equation, and let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, let's put 5 right here. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So this much right here equals 4. And 4 minus 4 is 0. So 5 is the only number that makes the left-hand side the same number as the right-hand side. Okay, another example. Looks like we get to use the distributive property. I have 2x minus 5, and I have negative 6 on the outside, and I'm going to distribute. So I have negative 6 times 2x. And I'm not going to multiply yet. I'm just going to write this out. So I have negative 6 times 2x minus negative 6 times 5. I'll put that in parentheses too. Equals 18. Okay, now I'm ready to multiply. Let's see here. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12 minus, oh, I forgot my x. Negative 6 times 5 is negative 30 equals 18. Aha! This right here. I have negative 12x minus a negative 30 equals 18. I strongly recommend, and I've mentioned this before, that you change subtracting a negative number to adding. So this problem becomes negative 12x plus 30 equals 18. Now the opposite of adding 30 is to take away 30. And I get negative 12x, this much is 0, equals negative 12. Divide both sides by negative 12. And I get x equals 1. So just to recap what I did, because I have a negative number on the outside, and because I have a subtraction here, what I did is I wrote out the distributive property. Instead of multiplying right away, I went negative 6 times 2x and I wrote it down. And I went negative 6 times 5 and I wrote it down. Okay, and then I multiplied. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12x. And then negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. And I can go ahead and draw these lines down here so that it looks the same. And then remember I had a negative 12x minus a negative 30. The double dash right there makes a plus. The opposite of adding 30 is to take away 30. The opposite of multiplying by negative 12 is to divide by negative 12. And I get x is equal to 1. You're going to like this problem. There are no parentheses, so that means no distributive property. When I draw a line down the middle of the problem, notice that there are no like terms to combine. So I can just solve this. Well, the opposite of subtracting 4 is to add 4. I get 10x. Over here is 0 equals 2x plus 64. Remember, I don't really want a 0 on one side of the equation. I mean, you can, it's mathematically correct, but it just makes things look a little confusing. So what I would do next is I would get my x's together and I would subtract 2x from both sides. 10x minus 2x is 8x. This much is 0. Bring down the 64. Divide both sides by 8. X equals 8. That problem wasn't bad at all. All right, here's one that's a little longer. We have to distribute. We have to then combine like terms. And then we have to solve. Look for the parentheses. The parentheses are right here. That means this is where we distribute. So I have negative 9 times x. That's negative 9x. I have negative 9 times 3. That's negative 27 plus 4x equals negative 2. Draw a line down from the equal sign. This helps us see which terms are like terms. And I see that I have a negative 9x and a positive 4x. When I combine those two like terms, these two guys, that makes a negative 5x plus negative 27 equals negative 2. The opposite of a negative 27 is a positive 27. So I get negative 5x. This much right here is 0. Negative 2 and 27 make 25. The opposite of dividing or multiplying by negative 5 is to divide by negative 5. And I get x equals 25 divided by negative 5, which is negative 5. Not too bad. It seems like these problems are getting easier. Okay, again, we are going to distribute. Combine like terms. Then solve for x. So I look for the parentheses. The parentheses are here. The parentheses tell me where to distribute. So I'm going to multiply x plus 2 by 6. So I get 6 times x, which is 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. Minus 4x plus 6 equals 36. Draw your line going down the page. Then you can see which terms are like terms. Okay, the 6x right here and the minus 4x. They are on the same side of the equation. They each have an x. That makes them like terms. So 6x and minus 4x is 2x. Then there's the adding 12 and the adding 6. They are on the same side. So I can add those two together, and 12 plus 6 is 18. Okay, so I've done the first two parts. I have distributed, and I have combined like terms, and now I'm ready to solve. So this is where you use opposites. The opposite of adding 18 is to take away 18. So I get 2x, this much is 0, equals 18. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 9. That's the solution. Here's a problem that looks a little different. And this problem we're going to solve by using the heart method. So this is what it looks like. We're going to multiply these two numbers here. And I get 9 times 5, which is 45. I'm going to multiply these two numbers here. And I get 6 times x, which is 6x. And if you take a look at these lines, look at these lines. Here's one. 9 times 5 is 45. Here's one. 6 times x is 6. If you take a look at these lines that we've just drawn, they kind of remind me of a heart. Okay, they remind me of a heart. And, you know, you can write yourself a little message in your heart. Like I can write down, Rocky, he's my dog. Anyway, we need to continue solving this equation. The opposite of multiplying by 6 is to divide by 6. And I get x equals 45 over 6. But that can be reduced. 45 can be divided by 3, which is 15. 6 can be divided by 3, which is 2. So the answer is 15 over 2. We solve this using the heart method because the lines that we draw kind of remind me of a Valentine's Day heart. All right, in this video, I hope that you learned how to solve some longer equations. Remember the order. You want to, first of all, distribute. Distribute is first. If it's there, distribute. Combine like terms, and then use opposites to solve. Good luck with your assignment. You can always go back and watch this video to see how to work out these problems if you need to. Have a good day.